So because I've never actually owned a piece of origami paper, I've always just had to turn a regular sheet into a square, so I'm just going to do that. You just have to get it just perfect, or else it has fox ears later. Which sounds like a great feature, but it is not. It's a bit repetitive just to get it to the point where it's weak enough to tear. Because instead of using scissors like a smart person, I don't do that. And let's try the other side, why not? Probably should have found scissors before this. You know, that might be the worst job I've ever done of this. Amazing what a camera will do. Smooth that out as much as I can. All right, now I have one triangle, and I'm gonna X across it like so. And this is part of the whole bird base thing. Do X on one side and then T on the other, so that it can fold into like a four-pointed shape. Anyway, sorry if my face gets like really close to the camera all of a sudden. I like don't see very well, so I zoom in and enhance, but with my body. Okay, so X on one side so it folds inward, T on the other so it folds out, and then it turns into another square. This time with 4 limbs. So, let's see, what do we do here? Gotta fold all of the limbs inward to form a more central body. this next step is like defining where it splits. It's probably going to be easier if I do this where I've already got the line. So that's defining where the limb begins and the body starts, because this is going to be the body and these are all the limbs. Flip that over, fold it so that it's in line. All right. And this part is optional, because if you do this part, which is just folding the point down to the fold line here, it won't have as arched of a back. But if you just don't do that, it'll be more pointy in the spinal area, which is great for if you're making a stegosaurus, or just anything with an arched back, I guess. But after years of perfectionism, I've just decided to remove it entirely from the build. And this part is actually completely unnecessary, because you could just snip this off, but instead we undo all of our work. Do it here, push it inwards. Sort of like an inside-out bird base. It's always so hard getting this part together. But the idea to push the center in, while the rest of it goes outward. I admit I'm usually better at it. Alright, and everything just folds back together like that, because you've already got the fold lines in. So now it doesn't have a pointy spine. Now we unfold the limbs where we've got them like this, and open them up just like with a swan. Instead of with like a swan, fold it all the way in to make a diamond. Don't worry if you didn't catch that on the first one. I'll be doing it twice since there's two of them. Oh, don't like that fold. Okay. Alright, so to show you, the part we folded in, folding out, opening it up, kind of closes in on itself. Just make sure it's going on straight in all the areas. Kind of guard some of the lineage there. Goes flat, and then we flip it back down. So now the four limbs are separated again. We have four of them. And this next part I do just, it doesn't have to be done in this order, but I just do it to help me define where the other limbs are. So this is the wing. This is another wing, and sometimes I leave them like this, but to better make legs, see the two wings here, can you see that? Yeah. To better define the legs, I'll fold it the other way, and push inward here, and these lines here that were the diagonal fold, they'll be now the kind of baseline, if I can find the one on this side. Baseline for where the wing starts and the body ends. All right. So basically, we're taking the wing and folding it in the opposite direction to make a wing facing the other way, pushing the center inward. That fox earring from earlier, good job me. Press inward, and we have this. And now they're facing different directions, but it doesn't matter. These are bidirectional wings. We'll make them perk up a little bit after we finish with some other things. But at the moment, they're fine this way. So 2 wings, and depending on which direction they're facing, the head and the tail. So for the head, which is still facing downward, we're just going to move it upward. And I'll show you that again. Split open. Push the whole thing up, and there we go. But obviously that's not very thin, so we're going to double it over. And that means we're going to take this part, fold it inward, and I'll show you that again. I don't have a good way of describing what I did there. Get the wings out of the way. So open up, pull down, and then hold these together while pushing these together again. Now we have these. Fold them in half to make them thinner for the neck and tail. And we follow it as far as it'll go into the little crook here. Okay, and that again, but on the opposite side. This, fold it in half down to the baseline. And just follow it in to make sure it's folding properly, and it pulls that in with it. And then we have this very thin limb. As you can see the 2 sides for comparison. Get the wings out of the way. So fold it down to the baseline. Fold it down to the baseline, and just follow the fold up to the body again. And now, as you can see, we have these protruding out just a little bit. And Sammy and I just go ahead and remove them because they're kind of ugly. You don't have to. Let me reposition myself because my legs are numb. Sitting like a samurai right now. Okay, so the wings are folded down, so the neck and tail are still here. And I just fold that pointy thing inward inside the body. It affects pretty much nothing. But it does make the body just a little bit bulkier. It makes the guy a little less chunky. I think this was in that example video I sent you. I didn't watch it, I just looked at the design. Alright, so now the back is pointy again. And there we have the wings and neck left over. Well, we have this. So start with a neck. We have this limb, wing, another limb, tail, limb, wing, limb. So now we've got, if I can properly show this off, 8 points. That's how we have a neck, tail, 2 wings, and 4 legs. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and make the neck here. Which side do I want to do this on? This one's the fox-eared one. Do I want the fox earring on the head or the tail, I wonder? Let's put it on the head, give the little character. Intentional character. I meant to do that, definitely. So what I'm doing here, and it's not very clean, but I'm opening the neck and pushing it upward, turning it inside out a little bit, and giving it this long swan-like look. In the head, I just do that again. Try to get it even on both sides. Very swan head, except, once again, turn it around, fold the head inward, and give it a little back spike, horn, whatever. And that's the neck cropping up. Still do the leg, which isn't as clean as the one I saw online, because I just fold it down. Just try and make sure it's the same length as the other one, so that when it stands up, it doesn't fall over. Then you do the wings. You don't have to do it in this order, whichever order of limbs is fine for you. Just fold that in a little bit. The wing stands up. Okay, so pointing this way, and we just keep this in the same position. Well, we put a fold here so it's diagonal to give it a little bit of angle. And for the next leg, I usually fold these in the opposite direction so that I can then fold them back into the proper direction. Because if I just like folded it down from here, it would be facing the opposite direction of this leg, like both pointing inward. And I'd rather not, so I fold it the other way so that it folds like the other leg did, like the front leg. Go in half and make sure, above all else, that the legs are the same length. We don't want a wobbly dragon. From experience, those are a nightmare. Okay, so that's nearly one piece. Just gotta do the tail. And I've seen the tail done a number of ways. My preferred way is to do it the same way as the neck, then just keep like zagging it. I've also seen people do it like they hold this spot and they push, and it makes a star shape here in the tail, which they then, yep, stay together, man. That's the little fold there that gives the tail a little angle, and they do it again. I can kind of do a custom job on the tail every time. And it usually looks okay, but then again, I'm recording right now, so that's out the window. Well, that's horrendous, but you know. It's a tail. I could have done better. Just try and give this something, anything redeemable. Yeah, it doesn't look great, but whatever. Okay, so that's the Kraglin dragon, or I guess the Geisha dragon, since Sammy also helped with the design features. She did her tails like way differently though. Sides are symmetrical. Don't know why I showed you both, but you know.